The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Let me just say, after viewing distorting the belt to proclaim me the real world champion, I'm going to tell you all with a tear in my eye, this is the greatest moment in my life. When you walk around this world and you tell everybody you're number one, the only way you get to stay number one is to be number one.
Woo! Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Captain Lou Extravaganza live here on the Captain Lou Sports Network, powered up by the Belly Up Sports Network of podcasts. Sit back and enjoy as we bring you the latest and greatest in the world of sports, everything from the Detroit Lions to the state of Michigan sports to around the country and around the world. So what are you waiting for? Let's get out there and let's watch the latest edition of the Captain Lou Extravaganza. And welcome, everybody, indeed, to the Captain Lou Extravaganza. We are live here on the Captain Lou Sports Network, which you can find us on YouTube. We are powered up by the Belly Up Network of podcasts, bellyupsports.com, Belly Up Sports Media, the whole conglomerate, if you will. We are live. We want to thank them, as we want to thank Mike and Blaine and all the crew at Belly Up Sports. This has been a great 2022 as it is winding down. That means 2023 is around the corner, and we have got an amazing set of things to come on the Captain Lou Extravaganza and, of course, Belly Up Sports. We are live, as I mentioned, on the Captain Lou Sports Network on YouTube. I invite you to subscribe to that. We've got some big prizes in store in 2023 for our subscribers. So be that lucky subscriber. When we get to number 50, that's when we'll give our first one out. Every 50 subscribers, we're going to give away another prize. And we've got some good ones lined up, so can't wait for that. Stay tuned for that for 2023. Follow us on Facebook at the Captain Lou Extravaganza, or you can follow me on Twitter at The Real Captain Lou, or my personal Facebook page, Louis Gamlin, or send me an email, sweetlou1965 at yahoo.com, and we will answer all the emails as we always do. Most of them are great. Some of them are a little goofy, but, that's all right. That's why we're here, right? So anyways, welcome to the show tonight. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. Hope you're having a fantastic holiday season. And I know if you're a Lions fan, you're like me, you're going into the Christmas season thinking, we've got a chance, baby. 7-7. Who would have thought? And I got to tell you, the Lions, they own New York City, baby. What a comeback. What a play. That's all I can say. Robert Saleh, thank you for not knowing how to use your timeouts. I thought Dan Campbell was a little rough on the time management. What the holy hell was going on with Robert Saleh in that last drive? A minute 48 seems like a lifetime, doesn't it? And boy, I was in shock with that play call for Detroit on 4th and 1. They go to the timeout, the 2-minute warning. I'm thinking, all right, less than a yard. I thought maybe they were going to give him that first down on that pass play. But it was 4th and inches. I thought, along with the rest of the world, they were either going to do a quarterback sneak or a handoff to Jamal Williams or DeAndre Swift right up the gut, which has been their MO. And Ben Johnson, what can you say? Smart enough to know that it hasn't worked all game. And he calls that tight end pass to Brock Wright. What a redemption play for Brock Wright after losing out on a couple of those missing a couple of those passes. If you're a Lions fan, like I am, enjoy Ben Johnson, because he has definitely been the difference in this turnaround for the Lions offense. And he's going to be a head coach somewhere. There's no doubt about it. So I think that, 7-7. I know you're saying, why are you giddy about a 7-7 record? Well, if you're a Lions fan like I am, they're few and far between. It's been since 2016 when we've had a playoff run. And we're not there yet, but the future's looking better and better. We'll go through the playoff scenarios a little bit later on. But they've got Carolina this coming weekend. And believe it or not, Carolina has something to play for, with that rancid division being the NFC South. I think they're only a game out because Tampa's winning it with a 6-8 record or something like that. So a lot to play for Carolina and Sam Darnold. Detroit goes there Christmas Eve. 3-point favorites, I believe. So we'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later on as well. But again, getting back to the Lions game, 4th and 1, they run that tight end pass, little swing pass. And I'm thinking, all right, we'll get down there. We'll get down there close, maybe get a first down, get closer and closer. And then next thing you know, he rumbles and fumbles and bumbles and stumbles, and he's in the end zone, and I'm doing laps. You got to peel me off the ceiling. I think I freaked out our dog. It was amazing. My wife wasn't home, so it was just me and the dog, and I was screaming. I felt so good to have. And then the Jets get the ball back with 1:48 to go, and I'm thinking, all right, the defense has been playing decent. And, you've got Zach Wilson, who he threw for almost 300 yards going into that drive. And I got to tell you, if you think that was on him, you're crazy. I just don't understand why they didn't use their timeouts. And that last play where he scrambled around and finally, he threw up that Hail Mary pass. And, you knew that New York was going to get the break with 1 second. And I'm thinking, oh boy, Greg the Legatron. 59-yard field goal is not out of his realm of possibility. And I'm thinking to myself, all right, here we go. Lions, they can't stand prosperity. After giving up that last touchdown, they go down and score. And then Legatron misses that field goal. And I'm thinking, wow. I just sat there with my mouth wide open before I screamed again. 7-7 after a 1-6 start. The Lions have a shot. Because I don't care what you say. The Commanders aren't playing that well. The Giants, they're not playing that well either. We're right on the cusp. And I know Seattle's got the tiebreak with Detroit. That's the tough part. I don't see the Redskins winning their next 3 games. I don't see the Giants winning their next 3 games. I don't see the Seahawks winning their next 3 games. So it's there for the taking for the Lions. Like I said last week, they're probably going to have to win out. And I truly believe that. So, but that opportunity is there. Carolina, Chicago, and then Lambeau Field at Green Bay. And, Green Bay, January 8th, with what could be for all the marbles, as it's looking like right now. Wow. Who would have thought that at Halloween? We were talking at the beginning of the year if Dan Campbell was going to get, or in the beginning of October, if Dan Campbell was going to get a 3rd year. And next thing you know, here they are at 7-7. We'll talk about that Carolina game in a moment. Let's look at our bets from last week. What we told you to do. We told you to take the Lions -1 and over 44. Well, unfortunately, that did not work out. That was our only loss of the 3 bets that we highlight here on our show with our triple play. Our parlay was, I honestly thought both teams were going to score in the 20s. Detroit's defense playing much better. The Jets' defense is solid, and they figured Detroit out, except for that tight end pass. I think everybody in the country was fooled on that pass. But Detroit did have some opportunities that they missed, but you got to give credit to the Jets' defense. They are for real. So I guess I kind of gaffed on that one. But if you took the teaser parlay, which has really been hot for us, which means you get 6 points, in this case, 6.5. You took the Jets plus 7.5 and under 50.5. Congratulations. You're a winner. And I took that one as well. And so, we split on that one on Sunday. The more and more I watch that game at halftime, I'm thinking, boy, that teaser bet's solid. I didn't think Detroit was going to win by more than 1 score if they won. And the Jets, it was, I guess the great thing about that game, Detroit did not play their best. I give some credit to the Jets defense, but Detroit did not look sharp. The running game was non-existent for the most part. Pretty unimaginative, if you ask me. Predictable with Jamal Williams, but most teams haven't stopped him. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I didn't mind the play calling so much. It's just that Jets defense is for real. Sauce Gardner, they didn't throw at him. People are kind of giving Detroit crap about that. Why would you do that? Why would you even do it? So anyways, one-on-one on the Detroit bets. We'll give you ours later on against Carolina. The teaser lock of the week. This one I was sweating out. It was funny because I was out Christmas shopping last Saturday. I had a date with Santa Claus, and I got off the phone with him, asked him to make some stuff to bring down for next weekend. So I go out to the stores and, I got the game on Sirius XM. It's about 1:00. I'm thinking, all right, my lock of the week for my teaser was the Vikings plus 2.5 and over 42.5 for total points, plus 115. I made sure that I put some shackles on that. And I'm thinking to myself, all right, this is okay. I get out of the store, it's 7-0. It's like 14. All of a sudden they run that kickback or that block punt or whatever it was. And I'm thinking, oh, then it's 24-0 or 23-0 or whatever. And I talked to my dad and he calls me up and he said, are you watching this game? And I said, I got home and I'm like, and I just turned it on and I can't believe what I'm watching here. And all of a sudden, as soon as we hang up, they get the pick six. I think it was 30-0. And I'm thinking to myself, what the holy hell? So I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to have to come on the show and maybe salvage 2 in the Lions game. 33-0. I'm thinking, my wife and I started watching something else. I checked my phone. It's like 36-28. I'm thinking, holy crap. Turn it on. Right as they get that pick or that scoop and score fumble that was denied because of a poor call, which, seems to be the case. But they ended up getting that screen pass to Delvin Cook. We're all tied up. And I'm thinking, holy cow. And they end up winning in overtime. And the Captain Lou lock of the week comes to fruition. So if you took plus 2.5 and over 42.5 like I did, congratulations. It's like I posted on Facebook and on Twitter. Little extra dessert with the nice dinner on Saturday night. Christmas came early for us. Jeff Saturday. Learning on the fly. That was embarrassing. And I'm here to tell you, if anybody blames Matt Ryan on that game, they're crazy. They're going to start Nick Foles this weekend on Monday night. What a clown show the Colts are turning into. Jeff Saturday's a nice guy, and I'm sure he obviously knows more football than I ever will. But come on. So that's Matt Ryan's fault. So they want to try something else new, something fresh. All right. Well, I don't know. I'll have to look at that one. Maybe that might be one of our bets. I don't know. That's one of those games where I might stay away from. The only thing that I'm contemplating with that game is I'm in the playoffs still in both my fantasy leagues. If I want to start Michael Pittman as one of my wide receivers instead of Darius Slayton, who laid an egg for me. Fortunately, I really didn't need the win to get in the playoffs because I had the total points in my one league locked up, and that's a playoff berth. So, but anyways, what an epic collapse by the Colts. Absolutely incredible. The Vikings, we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's take a look at, we talked about, as I mentioned, Detroit now 7-7, right on the cusp of the playoffs. Can they sustain it? I tell you, now it's weird because you feel like they're playing on house money. They were for the last couple of weeks. You're thinking they're never going to go to New York and win again. Are they? Win 2 games in East Rutherford. They're the Kings of New York now. It's like the Tigers, and the Yankees. The Yankees can't beat the Tigers in the playoffs. How many times did Detroit knock the Yankees out of the playoffs? Whenever Detroit goes into the playoffs again, the Yankees are hoping we don't want to play them. Now it's the Lions. They've got the Giants and the Jets number. It's awesome. And now they travel to Carolina. And we talked about it. Carolina is what are they, 6-9? Let's take a look at the standings. I'll just look at them real quick. Yeah, Carolina's 5-9. Tampa Bay's leading that division at 6-8. And the funny thing is, Carolina owns the tiebreaker over New Orleans, Atlanta, head to head. So if they finish in a tie in that division, then Carolina gets the tiebreak. So they've got something to play for. Tampa's, there's no lock there. Fortunately for them, they're playing an Arizona team that is starting Trace McSorley at quarterback. So on Christmas night, oh boy, yeah, that's going to be fun to watch on Christmas night. I don't think I'll have to worry about losing any sleep on that one. But anyways, 7-7 for the Lions, and they got Carolina this coming Sunday. Then they got the Bears. Justin Fields may not play, and then you've got Green Bay and Lambeau. Will they be relevant? Green Bay is what, 6-8, game behind Detroit. Detroit holds the tiebreaker right now because they beat them in Detroit earlier in the year. But anyways, that's I don't know. I don't know about Detroit 7. I don't know. I think they could beat Carolina. It's I guess it's an odd feeling. It's been a few years, obviously, but now people are starting to expect Detroit to maybe win. And the reason I say that is look at the line. Right now, Detroit is a 3-point favorite on the road at Carolina. The over-under 43.5. That's about right. I think both teams can put some points up. Obviously, it's going to depend on the weather. If it's anything here, that's what it's going to be like here coming up in the next 48 hours, next 72 hours. It's going to be cold down there. I don't think it's going to be bitter cold like here, but it's going to be chilly. And by the way, if you're going to be going anywhere, especially here where I'm based in Michigan, you might want to think about leaving tomorrow before it hits because it is going to be downright nasty. Blizzard conditions, foot of snow. Wow. Christmas storm. Whoever wants a white Christmas, you're getting it, man. And then it's going to get downright cold for a few days. But getting back to the Lions, they're a 3-point favorite, and the over-under is 43.5. Again, I don't think I need to mention anymore that Carolina's got something to play for too. Sam Darnold, remember that rookie game he had against the Lions on Monday night when he was with the Jets? I think they put 48 up on Detroit. You talk about embarrassing. I don't think there's anybody left on Detroit now that went through that, but I remember it, and I hope to never see that again. I don't think that's going to happen Sunday. But one thing to keep in mind with Detroit is their defense has improved in this 6-1 stretch where they've been in the last 7 games. They're only allowing 19 points a game as opposed to 31 or 32 the first stretch. So, yeah, it's amazing. Now, we looked at quarter 4 and their over-unders on some of their hot props. Kind of want to take you through some of these. What do you think of Sam Darnold, 153 yards over-under? I think he's going to go over because I think they're going to have to hang with Detroit. I think Detroit's going to stop the run. They played it much better. I mean, they squashed it against the Jets. Dante Foreman over under 79 yards. I would go under on that one. But I'm kind of liking over Sam Darnold for 151 yards passing. DeAndre Swift, again, they played a very, very tough defense against the run last week. I'm not so worried about Carolina's rushing defense, but you just don't know. DeAndre Swift is so up and down. He had 120 yards a couple of weeks ago. He didn't do anything last week. 32.5 doesn't seem like a lot, but the one that also, this one's kind of, Jared Goff's over under, they're predicting 263 yards against Carolina. Man, it's a lot on the road in colder weather. But don't let that fool you. I'm tending to go over because he's been doing that lately. And, he's got his weapons back. He's got Williams. He's got Shark. He's got Swift out of the backfield. He's got Reynolds, Amon-Ra St. Brown is turning into borderline Pro Bowl talent. I might lean to go over on Goff. It's crazy. It seems like a lot, but then again, it doesn't. So those are the hot quarter four stats, the hot props that they're looking at for the Lions game. This coming Sunday against Carolina. A lot on the line, no doubt about it. A lot on the line, and the parlay bet right now. If you go to DraftKings, Detroit minus 2.5 and over 43.5. Plus 240 is the line. So if you put a sawbuck down, you're going to get $24 on top of that. The odds are worth it to me. With Detroit on a roll, so much to play for. They're learning how to win. They've snatched those games out that they normally lose. That win against the Jets was so big, coming from behind, the way they did it and the way they held on. They didn't quit. They could have folded up after they got behind 17-13, and they didn't. I like this bet. It's under a field goal, which, is not a big deal. But, if they can win by a field goal, last second or whatever, I got a feeling it's going to be somewhere along the lines of 27-24 or 24-21. There you go. There's the bet. Minus 2.5 and over 43.5 plus 240. So, if you put $50 down on this one, you get $62.50 back. Or I'm sorry, you get $112.50 back. Why not? Or 100, you get 120 back. What am I saying? That's not too bad. Those are pretty good odds. I kind of like that. And, you throw in if you throw in DeAndre Swift getting 39.5 yards, that's going to boost that up to about plus 300 at least. So, you get 3-1 on your money back. That might be worth putting $5 down or $10 down, whatever. Get 3-1 odds. Now, the teaser bet that I'm going to go with, just kind of showing you right here, there's two different options. Carolina at home, if you do the 6-point teaser, it's kind of, I know it's -3. It's fluctuating, but we'll go with -3.5 or plus 3.5. So the teaser would be Carolina plus 9.5 and over 37.5 total points. You're going to get -115. If you go to plus 8.5, it's going to be -105. So just about even money. I tend to lean to that because a home team getting over a touchdown, what that means, it's another one of those 21-17 games, something like that. I think they can do that. So I tend to go with that teaser bet. The other one that I put on there, you add 6 points to the line. So they're plus 3.5 and it's over 37.5. You get plus money. That might be one to take a look at because, they could cover that. And, if you bet $100, you get 105 on top of the 100 or whatever. You bet $10, you get 1050 on top of that. So that's not a bad bet. Either one of those is pretty safe, I think. Might even be worth doing them both, but turn that into a super parlay, super single parlay, whatever. But those are kind of the teaser bets that I'm looking at. I'm probably, if you're looking to profit more, obviously you go with the Lions plus 3.5 and take the under 37 or over 37.5. So that's kind of what we're looking at right there for the teaser bets. So just something to keep in mind here as we roll along here on the Captain Lou Extravaganza. really, it is for a great cause. And again, so you can see the, you can see the puck right next to my line. Let's see if I can get it so you can see it a little bit better right there. Stanley Cup 2002. Well, here, I'll just switch it around and get a little better look at it. There you go. Scotty Bowman puck. It's well worth it. I invite you to just check it out again. That's Alan. Email him, Alan at sportsgraphing.com. Drop me an email, sweetlou1965 at yahoo.com, and I will forward you the link as well that's going across the screen. And it'll take you right to the website, and you can see that. And they've got a lot of other cool stuff there as well. And I know it might be a little too late to get for Christmas, but into 2023, it's a great gift. Or just treat yourself, and you'll help Vladimir Konstantinov as well. So again, you're watching the Captain Lou Extravaganza live here on the Captain Lou Sports Network on YouTube. We are closing out 2022. We are gonna have a show next week, and I'm also going to be a part of the Belly Up Sports Super Football Show. Join us on the Belly Up Sports YouTube channel next Tuesday night at 7:00. I'll be on the NFL portion of it, and it's going to be a college and pro spotlight special on all the games, including Michigan against TCU on New Year's Eve at 4:00. We're going to talk more about that next week as well. We're going to probably get some guests on next week. We'll get back to getting a few guests on at the end of the year. That's going to be one of our main goals of 2023, is to get at least one guest on each week talking sports. The football season will be wrapping up. We'll start to gear more towards hockey and basketball with March Madness coming around the corner. Also invite you to watch my show on Tuesday nights, the ACHA Power Play. We have great guests lined up every week. We had the voice of Central Michigan's hockey team, Devin Sarah, on last night, and the head coach of Niagara University, Tom Meridian, on. You can check all of those shows out in their entirety on my YouTube channel, which this show is live, of course, and that is the Captain Lou Sports Network. So kind of what's going on in 2023 as we kind of end up 2022. It's been a great year. And again, can't thank enough the folks at Belly Up Sports, Mike and Blaine and the boys and the ladies, everybody making it possible here. It's been a fun year, and it's going to be even better in 2023. Well, as we get back to what's going on here, we wanted to talk a little bit about, well, first of all, let's give you one of the things we like to do too is our Captain Lou teaser lock of the week. We've been on a roll with this one. I think we're 21-9 right now on our total bets, in the last 10 weeks. So we're making money. Now, I gave you 2 locks of the week for my Captain Lou teaser lock of the week. Miami right now is a 3.5-point favorite at home against Green Bay. And I think the over-under right there is 49.5. Well, you can get an even money 6-point teaser. You can make Miami a 2.5-point dog and lower that down to 43.5, and it's even money. I think Miami's going to crush Green Bay. Miami needs this win. I know Green Bay does, but the weather's going to be a little more to the liking for Miami than it was last week. Tua did not play all that bad in that cold weather, but they're in prime position right now. And I think they're going to need this win. They're going to get it on Christmas night, Christmas afternoon. Take Miami plus 2.5 over 43.5. That's my teaser lock right there, plus 100. Then the other one I kind of want to talk about is Tennessee, although I've been thinking about this one, and then after I thought about this, I thought, I forgot that that Tannehill is probably not going to play. So they got Malik Willis at quarterback. But I still think both teams can put up over 30 points in this game. And I got to tell you, Houston is bad. They're not good. And so I'm just going to stick with it. I'm going to go. Both of these are even money teaser parlays. Tennessee, a 3.5-point favorite at home. If you take the 6 points down, they're going to be a 2.5-point dog. I think both teams can combine to score 31 points. That's a 21-10. That's a 21-14 game. If you take that, it's plus 100. And then if you do the super teaser, this one's up to you, plus 290 if you get both of them right. That might be worth, $10 to win yourself 29 or $5 to win yourself 14.50. Those are my locks of the week, my teaser locks of the week. I thought about doing the San Francisco game. I really did. Now we'll take a quick look at that. The San Francisco 49ers are going to be hosting the Washington Commanders. If you took a teaser on that, it would be -1, and the over-under would be 32. That one's almost a no-brainer as well. So you've got quite a bit to choose from there. I might add that to make it a super-duper teaser, just for kicks and giggles, sorry. But that one's going to be at San Francisco on Christmas Eve at 4:00. That one's that one's not too bad. So, but those are my locks of the week right now in the NFL. For my Captain Lou teaser lock of the week, I'm going to stick with my first one. I'm going to go with Miami plus 2.5, and I think the over/under there is going to be 43.5. I think Miami's going to win that one, 31-21 or 31-17. So there you go. Go with Miami and take the over 43.5. You'll make even money. Bet $10, you'll double your money. It's that simple. So let's take a quick look at some of the playoff scenarios. In the NFC, we'll start with that one right now. We take a look at the standings. Again, you've got Philadelphia and Minnesota, number 1 and number 2. San Francisco's got a shot at overtaking Minnesota, but obviously Philadelphia, to me, they're going to win. I know they've got Jalen Hurts probably out for a couple of weeks. He'll be back for the playoffs. That might give Dallas a little bit of a boost. But if Philadelphia, I'm not really too worried about Philadelphia at all. They've clinched a playoff berth. If they win this game or tie, then they clinch the division. So obviously the top 3 have already clinched a playoff spot, including Dallas. Then you've got Tampa Bay and Carolina. We talked about that earlier. Tampa Bay, they've got, Carolina's got the tiebreakers against New Orleans and Atlanta. Dallas, and then you got the Giants and the Commanders. The Giants, they've got let's see, their game is against the Vikings this Sunday. The Vikings got the division clinched. They want to keep the number 2 seed. I don't think they're going to, they still have a shot at the number 1 overall seed. So they've got something to play for. And I think they've got something to prove after that rough showing. I know they won against the Colts, but the Giants, if they can pull this one off on the road, they're 4-2 on the road, by the way. They would go to 9-5-1. And boy, I tell you what, that would not quite clinch a playoff berth, but they would really solidify something huge, because they would be probably 2 games up on Washington as they go to San Francisco, as we mentioned, and they would stay comfortably ahead of Detroit, because if Detroit wins, they'd be 8-7. Now remember, Detroit has beaten the Giants and the Commanders, but that tie does Detroit really no good. So you've got Seattle and Detroit right now sitting at the 8th spot in the National Football, or in the NFC. And, they need the Commanders obviously to lose, and one of those 2 teams has to win out. So, but Seattle, they've got some tough games. They got Kansas City, I believe, next week. Man, that's going to be huge. Wow. Or actually, they might even be playing them this week. Let me take a look at that schedule again. Yeah, they play them this week at San Diego, or at Kansas City. So if the Chiefs win, the Chiefs got something to play for. They want that number 1 seed. So that they're going to give it all. So if they beat Seattle and Detroit wins, there you go. They've got their Detroit sitting at the 8th seed. Wow. I mean, the scenarios are there. It's for the picking for Detroit. They could bump up to that 7th seed, because the Commandos would be 7-7-1. Detroit would be 8-7, and they'd have that half game lead. So that's kind of what you're looking at right there. And of course, as we mentioned, Carolina 5-9, Atlanta 5-9, New Orleans 5-9, all within earshot of that divisional title. So That's kind of crazy to think about as well. In the AFC, you look at what's going on right now with their standings, and I've just mentioned Buffalo right now. They got the number 1 seed. They've got the tiebreak over Kansas City. They beat them outright. Cincinnati at 10-4. Cincinnati's playing some ball right now. They got the big win this past weekend. They've got a lead over Baltimore, 9-5. Baltimore, without Lamar Jackson, they're going to struggle, obviously. Should have probably won last week. But the big thing is Tennessee's leading that division at 7-7. But look out for the Jaguars. The Jaguars, they were 2-6 at one point, kind of like Detroit was. I mean, now they're 4-2 in their last 6. One of those games, of course, that blowout loss in Detroit. But the Jaguars, they've got their own destiny in their own hands. If they can win out, they would own the tiebreak over the Titans, and they'd win that division at 9-8. Tennessee's struggling, and now they may not have Tannehill for the rest of the year. It's there for the taking for Jacksonville as well. And watch out for the Los Angeles Chargers. I honestly think that they're really going to start. They're starting to come in their own. They might be able to overtake Baltimore at 5. Obviously, they're not going to beat Kansas City because they clinched the division. But I could see the Chargers being at 5 seed and playing Jacksonville or Tennessee in the first round. They've got the tiebreak over Miami because they beat them. That's huge. And the New York Jets and the Patriots. The Jets have the Patriots have the tiebreak over the Jets, but the Patriots, I'm telling you, they're looking rough. It's such a bad, quarterback play is really weak for both New York and New England. So I don't know. I don't see either one of them making much noise. I think it's going to be Miami, Baltimore, and the Chargers for the wild card spots. But the NFC is still real wide open. And I got a feeling nothing is going to be decided until week 18. And here's one for you. I was listening to a couple of shows, national shows, and they're talking about the flex schedule in week 18. It could come down to Detroit and Green Bay, or it could be Jacksonville and Tennessee for that flex game. I know it sounds stupid, and those might be the games that have the most at stake. What if Green Bay does win at Miami, and then they win next week against Minnesota? They're sitting there at 8-8, and Detroit comes waltzing into Lambeau at 9-7. And at stake is that 7th playoff spot. How crazy would that be? That would be insane. So, we just talked about the Jaguars. Are they for real? I got to tell you, I mean, they kept their poise, and they didn't, against Dallas. That was amazing to watch. What a weekend last weekend of crazy football. You talk about the Patriots and the Raiders. We didn't even talk about that goofy ass play. I think that's been overplayed all week. I mean, the Raiders, how many double-digit leads have they blown all week? And now they've got, they steal one. I mean, their playoff chances are next to none, but, that's played for pride. So much talent on that team. They're like everybody else. They've been bitten with the injury bug, but, so. We talked about the Chargers. Yeah, I think they are for real. Like I said, I think Herbert's coming into his own a little bit. They're playing better. They've got a pretty good setting right now for the playoffs to get in. Then they got to win one. They've got to win one in the playoffs once they get there. They've got the tiebreak over Miami. That is huge. Even if they sneak in at 7, they would play either at Kansas City or at Buffalo. I think they could have a shot at Kansas City. I love Kansas City, how they're playing, but their defense kind of giving up some points. Be careful of that. I want to talk real quick about Dallas and about Minnesota. Now, I know the old Bill Parcells saying, you are what your record says you are. But are they not the weakest looking 11-3 team out there? And Dallas, aren't they the weakest 10-4 teams out there? I mean, Detroit just took Minnesota out and just muscled them 2 weeks ago. And then last week they had to make that Herculean record-breaking comeback against the Colts to clinch the division. There was a while there I started thinking to myself, these guys lose this game, Detroit goes on a roll. Ifs and buts, because if Detroit wins out, they're 5-1 in their division. As crazy as that is, they would be 5-1 in their division, But I don't know, man. I just don't know. But how crazy would that be, huh? If they did that, if they ended up, But obviously that's not going to happen because the Vikings ended up winning that game. But man, 11-3, they just don't look that strong. Now, hey, they've got 3 weeks to right the ship, and it starts this week with the Giants. A very winnable game, I think. The Giants, I don't know how in the hell they won that game against Washington. And I'm not going to get into the bad calls because they've evened out all year with everybody. If that's your home favorite team, you're going to think you got screwed. I do the same thing with the Lions, but it's Detroit versus everybody. I get it. And I look at Dallas and I think, I heard Marcellus Wiley today talk about this. Why are we always talking about the Cowboys? They're 10-4. I get it. They pummeled Detroit earlier in the year. I get it. They would hold any tiebreaker if they collapsed with the Lions, and they're not going to. They're fortunate. They're going to play a Philadelphia team this Sunday without Jalen Hurts at home. They're going to win that game. Dallas has an outside shot of still getting into the divisional title if they win out. I don't think they're gonna, but they're going to be a 12-win team with a wild card berth. And then they're going to go to either Tampa Bay or Carolina in the opening round of the playoffs. And I'm not confident enough to pick them to win. And the same with Minnesota. Their defense is bad. It's horrible. Just think if Minnesota's the 2 seed, Detroit's the 7 seed. Playing indoors that opening round of the playoffs. I wouldn't be afraid to put some money on Detroit to win that one. Because Detroit can move the ball on them. And Detroit's defense is playing better and better every week. So I'm not sold on either Dallas or Minnesota at all. I really am not. And I think it's Philadelphia and everybody else in the NFC right now. San Francisco, I take that back. The San Francisco 49ers, to me, are playing impressive, winning 7 in a row. With Brock Purdy, I don't think he can win them a Super Bowl, but that defense can carry them quite a bit, and they are playing tough. Smash mouth. Amazing defense. Well, real quick before we get back and tell you our teasers and our locks and everything, what are you going to watch this set on Christmas Day? Are you going to watch Green Bay and Miami, or are you going to watch Christmas Story? Or are you going to watch a Hallmark Christmas movie? All the good games are on Christmas Eve. These Christmas Day games are an absolute, they're atrocious. Who would have thought that the Broncos and the Rams would be a dud? The Buccaneers and Cardinals, we thought they were, Cardinals were predicted to be a playoff team, borderline Super Bowl contender. The Packers and the Dolphins are the best game. That's ugly. I don't know if I'm going to watch that game. And the Broncos and the Rams, really? No. I might turn it on just to see a score, but no. And then the Buccaneers and Cardinals, not worth losing sleep over. Some of us have to work on the day after Christmas. So, and then the Monday night game, the Chargers and the Colts. Oof, boy, oh boy. Rough Sunday and Monday. Yeah, I'll probably be watching. I know I'll be watching Christmas Story, but, oh my God. There's some ugly games on Christmas Day. Christmas Eve, the big games will go. Let's run through those real quick on Christmas Eve. Again, you've got the Lions and the Panthers. Go Lions. Obviously, you've got the Seahawks and the Chiefs. The Chiefs are going to be an interesting watch. Really, the Eagles and Cowboys. But again, Jalen Hurts not playing. That takes some of the luster off. And, it really isn't a whole lot to choose from. The Bengals and Patriots kind of lost some fizz. It's a road game for the Bengals. It's going to be a tough matchup. Who knows what the weather's going to be like on Saturday out there? If it's anything like it's going to be here on Friday, it's going to be damn cold up there Saturday. Bills and the Bears, yawn. Saints and Browns, ugh. Texans and Titans, no. Seahawks and Chiefs, okay. Falcons and Ravens, no. Commanders and 49ers, so. Really is. So it's going to be a good weekend to be with family. There aren't a whole lot of great Christmas Day games or Christmas Eve for that matter. So, yeah. And last thing, Franco Harris. Found out this morning he passed away. So sad because they're going to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Immaculate Reception in 1972. I remember that. I didn't watch it live. I don't think I did. I remember following football back then, obviously. I was a huge football fan even in 1972. Franco Harris was a beast, man. Could he run? And he was a great ambassador to the game. Mr. Pittsburgh, I think even more so than Terry Bradshaw. He was blue collar. He, Pro Bowler, all pro, tough as nails, 12,000 yards, strong, just straightforward running. He epitomized Pittsburgh. Him and Rocky Bleier in that backfield, holy cow, they were a force. Obviously they had the blocking, but man, he just so sturdy, so dependable. Obviously a key cog to the 4 Super Bowl teams in the 70s for the Steelers. Just a shame that he had to pass away, now when they are going to, celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Immaculate Reception. But unfortunately, another ball player gone way too soon, 72 years young. Franco Harris passed away this morning, and our condolences out to his family. So great running back, another one of the 70s icons. Every time you see that clip, him looking right at the camera almost, it was amazing. That pass just turned the fortunes of that franchise around. They obviously went on to win 4 Super Bowls, and he was one of them. Him, Mean Joe Green, Terry Bradshaw, Lynn Swann, Rocky Bleier, Jack Ham, Jack Lambert, Dwight White, L.C. Greenwood. The list goes on and on. Mel Blount, Dwight White, John Stallworth, and household names in the 70s, all led by Rocky Bleier. Those epic games against the Vikings, against the Raiders, the Dolphins. Oh my gosh. Those were the games that, you only got to see one game back then, but it seemed like every Monday night they were on the highlights if they weren't playing Monday night. The Steel Curtain, the Pittsburgh Steelers were the 70s when it came to football. And of course they were led by Franco Harris. So sad to see him go. It really is. Well, we're going to close the show tonight with our bets again. Detroit, they're a 2.5-point favorite on the road, or 3 points, depending on where you go. If you take the parlay, this is where I'm leading. Detroit minus 2.5. I think they can get over 43.5, plus 240. Go with the Lions. They're on a roll. I think they're 7-0 against the spread in the last 7 games. Let's make it 8 in a row. I think they're going to do it against Carolina. They're going to go to 8-7 and find themselves sitting in that 7th spot in the playoffs because Washington's going to lose at San Francisco. Teaser bet of the game. There's 2 different ones to do here. If you want to go with plus money, you take the Lions plus 3.5. I don't think Detroit's going to win by more than 7. So I think the 9.5 is a safe bet. Take Carolina plus 9.5 over 37.5 minus 115. That means if you were to bet $10, you'd get $8.50 along with that $10 back. Or take Detroit plus 3.5. You'll get positive money for every $10 you bet. You get $10.50 on top of it. Either one of those, kind of close on that one. I'm still kind of teetering, but I'm probably going to lean to Carolina plus 9.5 over 37.5. And my Captain Lou teaser locks of the week, I've got 2 of them. Merry Christmas. Take Miami plus 2.5 over Green Bay and over 43.5. That'll get you plus 100, even money. Or take Tennessee, even though they've got Malik Willis probably starting at quarterback. They're playing Houston. It's at home. They need this game badly. I think they could probably score 24 points on Houston's defense. I think Houston will score a little bit. Take Tennessee plus 2.5 at home. Over 30.5. It's even money. And if you take both of these teasers together, it's plus 290. That's worth it to me. I'm going to put $10 on that to win 200 or to win 29 on top of that. So there's my locks of the week right there. My Captain Lou teaser locks of the week. 21-9 overall on my bets in the last 10 weeks on my 3 bets. We're going to do 4 this week. So hopefully we'll be 25-9. I hope you can come along with me on that. And we'll have some fun this weekend as you're watching on Christmas Eve. Christmas Day, as I said, not very good games. Not a great slate of games this weekend. Injuries, but there are some intrigue in some of the games. But it's football. You can't open the gifts 24/7. See if you can sneak and watch the Lions on Christmas Eve. I know we are. We're going to have family over. We're going to eat like kings on Christmas Eve and watch the Lions roar. I hope that your Christmas holiday weekend is good too. Well, that's going to do it, everybody. I want to thank you all for joining us here on the Captain Lou Sports Network on YouTube. Be a subscriber. 2023, we're going to have thresholds of giveaways for each 50 that we get that survive or subscribe. Well, subscribe. Oh, boy, I'm watching the Survivor, and I'm still in a Survivor pool in my one fantasy league, so got it on the brain, right? For each 50 subscribers in 2023, we're going to get a Fanatics gift card away. So more details on that next week and into 2023. So I invite you to be a subscriber to the Captain Lou Sports Network on YouTube. Because you are the reason we do this. We've gotten a lot of feedback through emails, and I can't thank you enough for that. So again, keep the emails going. sweetlou1965@yahoo.com. And you can follow us on Twitter at The Real Captain Lou or the Captain Lou Extravaganza on Facebook, or again, my personal Facebook page, Lewis Gamlin. So again, want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. Have a Merry Christmas. Happy holiday to you. And we'll see you next week. No ACHA Power Play until January 9th, but I will be on the Belly Up Sports Super Show, football-wise, next Tuesday night. I'll be on from 8 to 9. The show's from 7 to 9. I'll be on the pro side of it. Looking forward to that. And, of course, next Wednesday, another edition of the Captain Lou Extravaganza Live right here on the Captain Lou Sports Network on YouTube and powered up by Belly Up Sports. Captain Lou's saying, keep your heads up, keep your sticks down, keep your feet moving, and as always, keep your minds open. Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us here on the Captain Lou Extravaganza on the Captain Lou Sports Network. Happy holidays. We'll see you next week. So long.